I thought it was a prank. Love is Blind star Kalybriah shares how she ended up joining the experiment. Love is Blind Season 9 premiered on Netflix on October 1, 2025. The social experiment featured cast members getting to know singles and then got engaged to their respective connections. One of the cast members, Kalybriah, got engaged to Edmond on the show. In her October 1, 2025, appearance on What's the Reality podcast, Kalybriah reflected on her experience with the show. While talking about how she got herself on the social experiment, Kalybriah shared, "I was just like, I think one day I was scrolling and I seen like a casting call and I was like, OS asterisk it, let me go see if this is in Denver. It was. And so I'm at work, taking an hour out of my workday, filming videos to send in. And then they called me one day, and I thought it was a prank." Love is Blind Season 9, Kalybriah reveals the funny story about how she joined the Netflix show. Kalybriah opened up about how she joined the Netflix show, the casting process, and more. It was during her podcast appearance with former Love is Blind star AD. "How did you get involved with Love is Blind? Did you sign up? Were you casted? What drew you to that?" asked the show host, AD. Responding to that, Kalybriah mentioned that it was a funny story. She recalled one day feeling that she was sick of dating a certain types of individuals. She also remembered watching the latest season of the Netflix show. I'm so tired of dating these trashy *SS men. And I was like, I needed to do something different. I always like the looks of people." One day, while scrolling through her phone, Kalybriah learned about the casting call for the show. She went on searching whether that was in Denver, which it was. At the time, she was at her work. So she found an hour from her day and shot the videos, which she was going to send in. Later, when the producers called her, Kalybriah thought it was a prank. The podcast host asked her to share more from her casting process and timeline. "I'm at work and they're like, hey, is this Kalybriah? They said my name wrong. I'm like, this is Kalybriah? I'm like, no, this is Kalybriah. And I'm like, who is this calling me? And they're like, actually, initially I was like, who's calling, it depends on this. And so they told me who they were. They was like, this is so and so from Love is Blind," shared Kalybriah. Kalybriah shared that she submitted the video in April and got the call in October. Further in her appearance, Love is Blind star opened up about being absent. It was because she was going through her self-healing journey. Kalybriah noted that she had been absent for about 8 months. Why was Madison and Joe's breakup staged for the Love is Blind cameras? When Madison Maidenberg and Joe Ferrucci split so tragically on Love is Blind Season 9, it wasn't just an organic emotional twist to play out in the pods but engineered for the cameras. On a recent podcast appearance, Madison even disclosed that the breakup scene was recorded in hindsight to fit within the show's narrative and actually happened off-camera behind closed doors the night before that moment aired on TV. The story behind the scenes, however, tells of a reality dating game show where so-called slips of the tongue can be carefully orchestrated. After a walkout during Tuck's fitting gate and a problem of trust, Joe told Madison that he wasn't going to marry her. The morning after, cameras picked up the pieces of that already started breakup. The revelation raises questions about how much of the experiment is really the stated experiment and how much is just staged for entertainment. It raises a serious question for viewers who value authenticity. Does the proposition experiment still work if the actual breakdown moment was captured on camera after the fact? What does this tell us about the Love is Blind format's mechanics when timing may be manipulated, but emotions are genuine? Love is Blind, what's behind Madison and Joe's staged split and why it matters? Before the Love is Blind ceremony began on air, Madison disclosed that she and Joe had already split up, thus, the filmed moment was a combination of revelation and rebuilding. The disclosure provides insight into the show's approach and the implications for both participants and viewers, shedding light on how Love is Blind combines genuine connections with produced storytelling. How the real breakup happened off-camera. The actual split occurred following a dramatic sequence of events. As Madison described on her podcast, Joe told Madison that he wasn't going to marry her after leaving his tux and flirting with another cast member. "You're not it. I'm going to say no at the altar," Joe allegedly told her. Producers captured what spectators perceived as the tipping point on camera the following morning. Madison explained the procedure. The scene was modified for the show's plot, the cameras arrived, and the couple reenacted heartfelt beats. The filming just caught the aftershock. The true emotional climax had already happened. This contrast between production reality and emotional reality is important because it shows how the show maintains its format by structuring its plot around actual events. Why this staging changes the viewer's lens. The discovery that Madison and Joe's breakup was staged indicates that the chronology was altered for narrative impact, but it does not necessarily imply that the feelings were phony. The date was repackaged, but the couple's emotions, disagreements, and choices were genuine. For Love is Blind viewers, this alters our perception of what we see, turning situations from unplanned occurrences into carefully staged moments. More significantly, this realization relates to the show's central tenet: find love without appearances, then get married. The veracity of that guarantee is called into question if important scenes are captured out of order. It enables viewers to see not only connections but also the production decisions that go into them, implying that the format is as much about connection as it is about storytelling. Best, worst, cringiest, funniest, scariest, all the memorable moments from reality TV in 2025. What do we love about reality TV? What don't we love? For our annual Reality Stars of the Year issue, we honored the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Robert Irwin of Dancing with the Stars, Christina Hawk of The Flip Off, Nick Van Steenberg of Love Island USA, Maddie Reese of Southern Hospitality, Riley Burris and Ariana Bierman of Next Gen NYC, Rachel Riley of Big Brother and Dylan Efron of The Traitors and Dancing with the Stars. And then we took a look at the landscape and collected all the You Had to Be There moments that had us laughing, cringing, rejoicing, hissing and just about every other reaction you can imagine. Our list starts with the 2024 Love is Blind. Why did Joe actually call off the engagement? Details explored. The latest season of Love is Blind might be the show's messiest yet, and that's saying something. Joe and Madison's love story, once the talk of the pods, completely unraveled after Joe called off their engagement. Their breakup came after two major blow-ups, one involving Joe's offhand comment about usually dating thinner women, and another after a heated, wine-fueled argument. Now, with the reunion episode releasing on October 29th, the cast is on a bit of a redemption tour. Joe sat down with Us Weekly to unpack what really went wrong, and his explanation was surprisingly honest. He admitted that while things looked rosy in the Love is Blind pods, his doubts started creeping in long before the cameras stopped rolling. Between mounting anxiety and a gut feeling he couldn't shake, Joe said it didn't feel right to keep pretending everything was fine. For a show built on blind faith and quick engagements, his confession peeled back the curtain on just how intense and claustrophobic the experiment can get when love doesn't go according to plan. What happened between Joe and Madison on Love is Blind? Joe described his early interactions with Madison on Love is Blind as promising. Their conversations generated genuine excitement and emotional depth that was different than typical dating. The pod environment creates an accelerated intimacy that can feel overwhelming. He acknowledged entering with natural hesitation that gradually transformed into investment. The pressure cooker atmosphere of Love is Blind intensifies emotions rapidly. Joe believed their relationship had legitimate potential as they moved forward. Madison appeared fully committed to exploring their compatibility. Her enthusiasm contrasted with Joe's growing internal uncertainty. This divergence in emotional states became increasingly difficult to navigate. Joe confessed that Madison's unexpected reactions during tense moments frightened him. Seeing her behavior during their argument triggered alarm bells. He had never anticipated this side of her personality emerging. Despite Madison's desire to continue the Love is Blind experiment and gather more information about their compatibility, Joe reached a personal threshold. He recognized he was going through motions without authentic belief in a future together. The realization that he would ultimately say no at the wedding made continuing feel dishonest. He admitted that his handling of the incident fell short of ideal. His dramatic withdrawal, which he described as crashing out, demonstrated his inability to sustain the charade any longer. The shame of wasting Madison's time while harboring inner misgivings was agonizing. Joe explained that he has been hiding bad sentiments for a long time. He tried to divert himself from painful facts rather than face them immediately. The highly charged, high-anxiety milieu made genuine self-reflection almost difficult. His mental questioning became more intense until a figurative light bulb went out, forcing clarity. He could no longer justify his presence in the experiment when certainty about their future was absent.